Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I welcome you to the program Blessings of Islam, and today we'll discuss the power of Salah and the beauty of Sujood. If you talk about Sujood or prostrating for Allah Almighty, you are performing sajda. This is one of the most important elements of Salah or performing prayer. This is something that is called a sign of humbleness. But for whom you are doing this? You are bowing down your head, you are placing your forehead on the ground for Allah Almighty, the most powerful. So when you perform sajda and you prostrate for the sake of Allah Almighty and you place your forehead on the ground, this gives you strength to stand up and face the challenges of life successfully. It means that this is something that gives you power. And we should understand that this is such an element of salah, of prayer, that the Prophet ﷺ says, it is hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in Sahih Muslim, that the closest the man is to Allah Almighty when he is prostrating, when he is performing sajda. So at that time, the Prophet ﷺ said that we should say dua and we should pray at that time when we are performing sajda, because at that time we are close to Allah Almighty. So this sajda, and that is called, bowing down your head, you are placing your forehead on the ground. This is a sign of gratitude also. So it means that when you perform sajda during salah, at that time you are showing humbleness for Allah Almighty, and you are also showing gratitude, that you say that you are surrendering your will to Allah Almighty. It means that you are practically acting upon something that is the spirit of Islam, a surrender to the will of Allah Almighty. You have surrendered to the will of Allah Almighty when you are performing salah, when you are performing sujood, and when you are acting upon other teachings of Islam. So the beauty of sajda is that it gives you strength to face the entire world, and it gets you close to Allah Almighty. This is the sign of love for Allah Almighty. Whenever you are facing any sort of problem in your life, any sort of difficulty, you should perform sajda at that time, even if that is not during salah. At that time you are just performing sajda. At that time you will find relief and you will find inner strength. So I would say that this sajda is one of the blessings, because this is the part of salah, and with that it is something that gives you so much power that you cannot imagine. So all the elements of salah, including ruku, including qiyam, including sajda, all these things are having wisdom behind all these acts of worship, because they have a certain purpose, and that is to remind you that you are not only for this world. Your destination is akhirah. Your destination is your afterlife, and you have been sent to the world with a clear purpose, and that purpose is ibadah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created humans or jinns but to worship me. To worship Allah Almighty, that is the core objective and the sole purpose of our life. And I would also say that this worship, that is act of worship, that also relates to all your aspects of life. Because when you are performing salah, when you are performing sujood, so it means that you are such a person that is not harmful for the creation of Allah Almighty. When you have placed your forehead on the ground and you are performing sajda to Allah Almighty, so you are giving a message to the whole world that I am a servant of Allah Almighty. He is my Lord, He is my Creator, and I won't do anything that is against the will of Allah Almighty, or the will, or the teachings of, or the sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the one who acts upon the commandments of Allah Almighty, he can never be harmful for anyone in the world. He will be acting upon the teachings of Islam, and he will be following the way of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the way of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is a blessing for the whole world. You just need to connect the effect of all these things on your life, that might be your personal life or your social life or your professional life, you will see that this salah, this sajda will be giving you strength. Just let me give you an example. You have faced a failure in your life while at job, while at work. You face some sort of difficulty, that moment of distress. If you are connected to the teachings of Islam, you offer salah and you perform sajda, so you will find an inner strength within yourself. You will be resilient. You will be able to stand up again because you believe in Allah Almighty that this difficult time will pass on and this will be replaced very soon by a good time. As we read in the Holy Quran, Inna ma'al usri yusra. It means that with every difficulty there is some ease. So this moment of distress and difficulty will be will no longer be there, will be replaced by something good. But this happens only when you believe in Allah Almighty. So your faith gives you power, and the acts of worship give you power. So we can say that a believer, or the one who practices Islam, who acts upon the teachings of Islam, he's having a very positive approach. He is very optimistic. Why? Because he believes in Allah's mercy. He does not lose hope. At any way, he does not lose hope, because he remembered the verse of the Holy Quran, La taqnatu min rahmatillah, that do not lose hope in Allah's mercy. So believer can never lose hope. It means that he will be having a very optimistic version of life, a very positive approach towards life, and he believes that this life will end soon. Of course, we will die, and then another life will begin. And even if we are not able to collect so many resources in this life, but we were good to people, we were following the teachings of Islam, so it means that our afterlife or akhirah will become better. And if we were not able to achieve so much, resources, so many resources, or different forms of success in our life, so if we were following the teachings of Islam, so inshallah the afterlife will be better. It means that in all the conditions, if you are practicing Islam, you are not only a blessing for yourself, you are a blessing for yourself, for your family, and for all those who are around you.